Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Warrior Way. You know, sometimes there's just so much tension that you have, and you just need to release that tension. Like, you just need to let it go. So, I wrote this poem called Release to Be at Ease. I figured what I'd do now is I'd read the poem, I edit it into a short. So, for those who want to just watch the short, can just watch that piece and then talk about it more afterwards into more of the longer version of the video. So, here we go. It's called Release to Be at Ease. We're here to experience. It's all just mysterious. What will be, what will happen next? The objective is to feel blessed. Remain optimistic each and every day, then you'll learn to enjoy the play. Let go of the dramas, life is too short. Don't waste your time taking loved ones to court. All for money so you can survive, barely noticing that you are alive. Take a deep breath, helps you release. After some practice, you'll be at ease. Day after day, you'll want to meditate. At first, you might hesitate, but then it'll be great. Because you start to feel alive again, then the world will start to bend. A positive view, a positive perspective, learning lessons after being reflective. A quiet life, a lot less noise, perhaps even a lot less toys. Enjoying the mundane, the menial tasks, now feeling like you don't lack. Enjoying the stillness, nothing you have to do, just feeling blessed, you get to be you. Becoming the noticer as you watch others run, breathing and breathing becomes your fun. Appreciating others as you were once there, fortunate as this moment is rare. Teaching others when they allow you in, that the veil of illusion is truly thin. This world we're living in is a very tense world, right? People are tense about it's because of survival. Like I went to this concert and there were fireworks afterwards, and this woman was talking about like suing somebody, and I heard her say like, "Oh, like meaning taking someone to court," like I mentioned in the poem. Like your first step is like suing, or like you hear stories about like a person going to McDonald's and getting a hot coffee and then burning themselves, and then suing McDonald's because they got burnt by the coffee. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't. I mean, who's to say they should or shouldn't? The point is like we run. That's what we're running to do. We're running to like get money from somebody and grab a hold of something like as if that's going to solve our ultimate problems. Our ultimate problems is that we have this tension and we need to release this survival mentality to literally let go. And you can watch everybody you just like tasks that I do for myself. I was talking about tasks in the poem too. Like we have so many tasks we have to do during our day, but if you could just stop doing your own tasks for a minute, like sit on your front porch, which I do quite often, and just watch people. Watch people walk by. You'll see the dog walkers. You'll see people hustling to school or work. A lot of people are running, even with the dogs. Like they're like yanking the dog to go. Like when the dog wants to just chill. And not to say I haven't done stuff like that. We all have. But the point is to recognize it that you don't always have to do that. There are times where you could just sit back and be like, take your time and relax and let that tension of whatever that is to go. And usually it's because we have something we feel like we have to do. Like we have to get somewhere at a certain time or we have to take someone a certain place. Like, and we feel this like pressure, this that we create really on ourselves to to make something happen at a certain time in a certain way. And again, a lot of times it's because of the survival mentality of like, well, I have to make a living, I have to make money, I have to, do this thing, I have to prove myself to people, I have to climb the ladder. And we're just living in a place of constant tension. So there's so many things built out of the world, right? So we have there's therapy, there's physical therapy, there's mental health therapy that people go to release some of that. There's like I know I have friends that do acupuncture, or I don't know what those things are called with the cupping. Oh, cupping, that's what it's called. Where people get the cups and they have those marks on their back, and this is all to release the tension that we've built in our lives. And instead, there are other ways to release your tension, which is meditation, just deep breathing, writing, just sitting still, and learning to let go. And it seems like such a something that's so simple. Like I was talking to a friend of mine way back. I don't know how far back it was, and I kept on mentioning like when you're feeling that way and you're feeling like that tension, just take a breath and release it, and release that tension right in that moment. And a lot of people will say to you like, "Oh, yeah, easier said than done," or like That's not going to help me like get past it. And I remember like back in the day when people would say like count to 10 when you get angry, like one, two, three. It's really the idea of taking a pause, taking that breath, but really a conscious breath, not just like a breath, a conscious like complete release and letting go and coming back to the present moment that you're just here. But there's these ultimate fears that we have. Fear again of survival, of losing something, losing like your relationship or your job or money or your or whatever it is. You're gonna be late to something, and therefore you're gonna miss out at FOMO on whatever activity is going on at that moment. Like you have to be there at a certain time. I was and I still am a very on time person. What I've learned to do is you go early if you don't want to be on time. Now I let go of the time thing and I just go when I go and I get there when I get there. But I used to be a person of okay, so like get there early and then you don't have to worry about being late if you're planning to be early. If you plan to be on time to something, the rule is you're going to be late, right? You have to plan to be early if you want to be early. If you plan to be on time, you're going to be late. It's like studying for a test and you study for a 90. You're not going to get a 90. You're probably going to get an 80s. Study for an 80. You're probably going to get a 70s. You just study to get a perfect score. You might not get a perfect score, but you study to try to know everything. And that way, when you don't know everything, at least you're going to get close to that point. And that's kind of what we're doing in life is like, what are you trying to do here? Are you trying to really release the tension or are you trying to band-aid your problem? And if you just band-aid your problem, so then you're going to be stuck. You're going to be stuck with like constantly feeling a certain way and constantly trying to coping mechanisms. Like Ram Dass talked about therapy, and I was a therapist for many years, for 16 years. So what a therapist tries to do is we try to take one problem and find a coping mechanism to solve it with another to create another problem for you. It's just moving, shifting over one thing to the next. Same thing with medication, by the way. So you go from like you have a problem, and I'm not to say you don't take medication. If you have to take it, you have to take it. But just understand how it works. Medication is just creating another problem. Now you have to take this medicine, and there's side effects to this medicine, and it could affect your bladder, and it could affect your other moods. Antidepressant medication always has a warning that it can make you depressed and make you suicidal. So even though it could help, it also could enhance the problem. And then it says tell your doctor. And I would say like really do all those things if you feel like it's helpful for you. But in addition to doing that, or if you're not doing that, to focus on a way to really resolve your problem. And I think the only way I've found to resolve this problem with tension and stress is breathing. And everything, it seems so simple, everything comes back to the breath. But to me, it really is that way. Everything does come back to the breath because everything's about coming back to the present moment, to not be so far ahead of worries about what's going to happen in the future and things that already happened. And the truth is that we can talk about it, and a lot of people talk about it, but it doesn't help you if you don't actually live it. You're not actually doing the steps to do it and constantly coming back with the breath and the way to constantly do that is by putting in a practice of meditation every single day. And when you have that practice of meditation every single day, it starts to become second nature where you start to do it more regularly. I couldn't talk about this for so long because I didn't have it. I didn't feel like I did it for long enough. And now it's been 3 years since I started this process, and it has been and I've been very consistent with making sure I meditate at certain times, especially in the morning when I first wake up. And then I meditate throughout my day at different points in my day, and sometimes more, sometimes less. It's not accounting anymore for me. It used to be a thing of like, oh, I have to do a certain amount of time. Now it's not. But if you start off with not having a certain amount of time, you're not going to stick to it. And then when you don't stick to it, then when the trials come and the tests come, you're not going to be able to quickly go to that breath. And trust me, even for myself, like it's only been 3 years, right? So it's still not like I've done it for 20 years, like 3 years, but I've done it enough to be able to, it becomes sort of second nature where I start to see God in every single moment. And when I lose it, I'm able to come back through the breath or to come back to like quick to the breath. There's no other way to do it other than when you really come back to the breath and come back to like grounding yourself into this ground, into the earth, you're like, there's nothing happening. And it's, how do you not worry? Well, you get out of the thinking mind. You get out of the mind. The mind causes that tension. It's up in here. That's why we get headaches. People that complain about headaches is because they're very tense. I don't know if I used to get headaches, but I used to have like, yeah, it would be like my mind was swirling all the time and constantly going, going, going. And sometimes I find this strange that it's like, I'm so at ease because I've released it to know that it's all God's show, and He's the one who's going to help you grow past that stage, past that fear. And the more you go into it's the mystery of the unknown, to dive into that mystery, to completely Like when you get to the point where you're like, I really don't want this tension anymore, I really don't want this stress, you're willing to throw yourself into it, then it becomes a lot easier. And it's really practice and practice and practice. I wouldn't say you throw yourself in right away. Sometimes when you're around people that are like, if I wasn't around Ram Dass, but I've read enough Ram Dass books and listened to his videos. Sometimes at the moment when I was doing that, I'm like, oh, I'm ready. And then the universe will pull you back into those fears, into doing things. And then at the right times, you'll start to see like things will go, and then you'll have your flow. So that's all you really need to do is start the practice slowly. I keep on bringing this up in a lot of my videos of just starting to do a little bit at a time and reinforcing that, because the same way I do it and over again, I want to remind people, yeah, just keep coming back to it. It's okay if you messed up yesterday. It doesn't matter. It's already gone. Don't worry about what's gonna happen tomorrow. Like right now, it's like exercising. I work out for a few minutes every single day. Um, and then I say that doesn't mean I've never missed days. I've missed days. I hurt my foot, so like I stopped working out for a few days, and today I did the workout, even figuring out how to do it without it, but like nothing crazy, 5 minutes. And I work out for 5 minutes every day. And sometimes I do more, and sometimes I dance, and sometimes I rollerblade, and sometimes I do other things. I go for walks. But ultimately, I've made a commitment to a small increment. That's the small increment that I'll always keep to. So that way, even if I don't do a lot, I'll do a little bit, and it makes a difference. It really makes a difference. And it's just about consistency and believing that it's going to work. You have to know it's going to work. You can't look to other people. I mean, obviously, that's what we do. We're like, you might look to me and be like, is it working for me? Well, I don't know. Look at me. I feel like I look pretty good. But it's from the consistency of it and believing that it's going to work, believing that it's not so much how much you work out. Yes, that's true too. If you work out a lot, you're obviously you're going to look like worked out, but it doesn't have to be that way. If you believe it has to be that way, then go ahead and do that. But I think it's more of the mentality, believing in yourself that it doesn't have to be that way. You can find other ways and just believe that it's going to work for yourself. And then the cause and effect is not how it is. It's God causing the cause and effect. It's not you. I know that's a crazy concept for people. Like there really is, science will say cause and effect, but it's that's science. Science is another way of saying no God. There is a God, and God decides how it's going to work. And yes, God is telling you through your belief system. So you have to change your belief system, work small, and through those small little increments, you're going to see big results. It's small, and anyone who became very successful always says like consistency is more important than the amount of time you do it in one day. Like you can work out for 2 hours in one day, you may never work out again. Rather split those 2 hours into 5 minute segments over the course of 2, 3 weeks, and boom, you're gonna have a consistency. And next thing you know, you're gonna set for your life. You'll be set for life in terms of having that new routine. So release to be at ease and make your life a little less stressful. Thank you so much.